Welcome back to YouTube channel Battlefield Stories. The sun was merciless. The kind of heat that cracked lips, split sand into glass, and turned men into ghosts. Somewhere in that endless sea of gold and silence, Captain Sarah, Reaper, Lane clawed her way out from under the wreckage of a burning vehicle, bloodied, bruised, and very much alive. Her team wasn't. At least, that's what Command would think. Because the convoy had been ambushed by their own, betrayed, sold out, and left for dead. Delta Force didn't go down easy. And Sarah Lane wasn't the kind of soldier who died quietly. Smoke rose behind her like a funeral pyre. The armored Humvee was reduced to twisted metal and flame. She staggered to her feet, the desert wind slashing her face with heat. Her radio was gone, her canteen empty. Every bone in her body screamed for rest, but she forced herself to move. There was a reason they called her Reaper. The ambush had come at dawn. 2 friendly signals flashing green on the tactical display, then turning red in an instant. It was supposed to be a weapons recovery mission, escorting intel assets from a forward post near the Syrian border. Instead, it was a trap. The last thing she remembered before the explosion was her lieutenant shouting, "They're not ours." Then, nothing but fire. Now, standing alone amid the ruins, she scanned the horizon. No movement, no sound, just heat waves bending light and the faint buzz of flies around the wreckage. Her leg was bleeding. Deep gash, shrapnel still lodged in muscle. She tore a strip from her sleeve, wrapped it tight, and gritted her teeth. Pain meant she was still alive. She started walking. The mission wasn't over. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher. Her throat burned, her skin blistered, and still she moved, following her compass, heading west toward an old smuggler's route she remembered from recon days. If she was lucky, she'd hit an abandoned oil station before nightfall. By the time the sun began to drop, she found it, a skeletal metal tower jutting from the sand, surrounded by crumbling tanks and rusted barrels. Shelter. She collapsed inside the shadow of a storage shed, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Sweat streaked with dust made her look more ghost than soldier. She pulled her sidearm free, checked the mag, 2 rounds left. Not enough to fight, but enough to make someone think twice. As the desert cooled and shadows stretched long, Sarah's mind drifted back to her unit, Delta Team Phoenix. 6 operators, brothers and sisters forged in blood and fire. She remembered Ramirez's bad jokes, Novak's coffee addiction, and how Miller used to hum, "Take it easy," before every mission. Her jaw tightened. "You bastards," she whispered. "You better be waiting." A sound, faint, metallic. Footsteps crunching on gravel. Sarah froze. Voices. 2 of them. She pressed herself against the wall, pistol raised. "Check the wreckage again. Command wants confirmation she's dead." Her blood turned cold. They'd come back to make sure. The first voice was familiar, Sergeant Klein. He'd been with them since Kandahar. Loyal, trusted, until now. She peeked around the corner. 2 silhouettes moving slowly between the rusted tanks, rifles sweeping. "Klein," she muttered under her breath. "You picked the wrong ghost to bury." She waited until they were close, 20 meters. 10. Then she moved. Like a shadow, she stepped out behind the first man, wrapped her arm around his neck, and twisted. He dropped silently. The second spun, shouting, "Too late." She fired once. The sound echoed across the dunes. Silence returned, broken only by the whisper of wind. She crouched beside the bodies. Both wore U.S. tactical gear. Both had desert dust caked into their boots. Men she'd trained with, trusted. Her hands shook, but she forced herself to search their packs. Ammo, rations, water, a radio. She grabbed it, tuning through static until she caught fragments of a transmission. Asset compromised. Negative visual on Reaper. Package en route to border. Package. That word snapped her attention sharp. The package was a diplomat, an undercover operative carrying intel on a rogue arms trade. The one her team was supposed to extract. If they were taking him to the border, that meant she still had time. Sarah stood, slinging one of the rifles over her shoulder. "You left me to die," she whispered, "but you forgot who I am." Then she disappeared into the desert. Dash dash dash. By nightfall, the temperature dropped like a blade. She moved quickly, guided by starlight and vengeance. Her boots crunched over hard-packed sand, her eyes scanning for tire tracks. After 2 hours, she found them, a faint trail leading toward the old smuggler's pass. At dawn, she spotted movement, 3 vehicles parked near a rocky ridge, headlights off, engines idling. Through binoculars, she counted 6 men. One of them, unmistakably General Mercer, the man who'd authorized her mission. Her pulse thudded. So it was you. He'd sold out his own team. For money, power, didn't matter. He'd betrayed Delta. Sarah crawled closer, moving with a predator's patience. The men were unloading the package, a hooded man in civilian clothes. 2 guards flanked him while Mercer talked into a satellite phone. Deals in motion, Mercer said. Once the transfer's done, we disappear. Sarah steadied her rifle, finger on the trigger. She could end it right there. 1 shot, clean. But something stopped her. The hostage was too close. 1 wrong move, and he'd die too. She waited. One of the guards lit a cigarette, stepping away from the group. Perfect. She crept up behind him, silent as breath, and struck. The butt of her rifle met the back of his head with a dull crack. He dropped. She dragged him behind a boulder, stripped his vest, and took his radio. Then she keyed the mic. Delta Command, this is Reaper. Do you copy? Static. Then, Reaper, you're alive. Copy that, she said. General Mercer's compromised. Extraction site 20 clicks north of Route 6. I'm engaging. Backup inbound, Command replied. ETA 15 minutes. 15 minutes. She just had to hold them off until then. Sarah adjusted her scope and took aim at the truck's tires. 1 shot hissed through the dawn. The vehicle sagged. Shouts erupted. Contact. Find her. She moved like smoke, changing positions after every shot. Her world shrank to the rhythm of breath and recoil. 2 hostiles down. 3, 4. Then a voice behind her. Drop it, Lane. Mercer. He stood 10 feet away, pistol leveled at her head. You should have stayed dead, he said. You don't know what you're fighting against. I know betrayal when I see it. You think you're saving people. You're just a pawn. This operation was never about intel, it was about leverage. She smirked. Guess you're running out of both. He squeezed the trigger, and the world exploded in light and sound as helicopters thundered overhead. Command had arrived. Mercer's men scattered as Delta reinforcements rappelled into the canyon, weapons blazing. Sarah ducked, rolled, and fired, her bullet catching Mercer in the shoulder. He fell, screaming, as soldiers swarmed the ridge. Within minutes, it was over. The hostage was safe. Mercer was in custody, and the desert was silent again. Sarah stood amid the dust and chaos, her body trembling with exhaustion. A medic approached, but she waved him off. Later, she said, just get the intel secured. A voice crackled in her earpiece. Command to Reaper. You saved a diplomat, stopped a defection, and shut down an arms deal. How the hell did you survive out there? Sarah looked at the endless horizon, the same merciless desert that had tried to bury her. Her lips curved into a faint smile. Delta doesn't fear death, she said. Death fears Delta, and with that, she walked toward the waiting chopper, the rising sun casting fire across the sand. A survivor, a warrior, and a reminder that some ghosts never die.